I was going to do a deeper dive on it to see whether there's probable cause. It's the first time I've seen something like this.
Yeah, same here, Judge.
Wait, did the judge just say he's never seen a case like this before? That's your first sign that this isn't your average courtroom hearing. So buckle in, because what unfolds next might have you questioning how the system even handles these kinds of cases.
Hey there, welcome to the Courtroom Files. So we often see in the comments where people will comment that they can't believe that the judge didn't know this or that. And we can understand it. You expect these people in power to sometimes know everything, but it's also not practical. And that's why we present today's video. Everybody involved has not really seen anything like this before. Specifically, the defendant is being charged with running a stash house. And the first question that we had when we saw this, and Judge Fleischer asked the same question, is why is it in front of him? Because he couldn't believe that it wasn't like a felony or something charged at the federal level. And as we find out in the process of this, that's actually in the process of changing as well. But for the moment, it's being charged as a misdemeanor, so it's in front of him.
All right, quick legal sidebar. A stash house case being charged as a misdemeanor instead of a felony is highly unusual. Normally, this would go federal, especially if human trafficking or large sums of cash are involved. So why is this in municipal court? Either something's missing or something's being downplayed.
But they have to work through this because they don't really have a comprehension of why he's there or, you know, what the charge means or anything else. So as they work through the probable cause, they also have to review the law. So take a look at this and let us know what you think. Not only about how the judge handled it, but just the fact that this was something that none of them had really seen or dealt with before. So do leave us a comment, let us know your thoughts. Please put a thumbs up on the video if you enjoy it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, we'd appreciate it if you would consider doing so today. And let's roll the game film.
All right. So, Mr. Martinez, you were charged with operation of a stash house. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On November 24th, 2024, officers were dispatched to an apartment in Harris County, Texas. The officer located 5 adult complainants locked in a bedroom while conducting a welfare check. The officer observed the defendant to be the sole person in the apartment that was not locked in the bedroom. The officer determined the apartment to be under the control of the defendant. All complainants gave similar statements and stated they were held in the locked bedroom without the ability to come and go freely. The complainants were all found to be in possession of identifying documents, but their cell phones had been taken away. The complainants stated if they needed to leave the bedroom, they had to knock on the door and be led through the apartment, sometimes with a bag over their head, by one of 2 males in charge. The defendant stated he lived at the location with another male, but that he did not know the other male very well. The defendant denied knowing the 5 people in the apartment. He stated they were dropped off in the morning that day.
Hold up. People locked in a room, no phones, and only allowed out with a bag over their head? That's not just shady. That's straight out of a hostage scenario. How is this even a misdemeanor right now?
But he did not know who dropped them off. The defendant was found with $5,959 on his person, and the officer further observed the door where the complainants were being held could only be locked and unlocked from outside. The room was bare of any furniture. No mattresses were in the room. There were only 3 pillows and multiple blankets, and a large sheet of plywood covering the window. The officer also found the room had no working light bulbs. The officer observed a desk in the dining area with 4 envelopes with his name and $3,600 written on them, containing cash, a total of $11,200.
Let's do this. Mr. Martinez, I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box. I'm going to have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. Just take a seat for me. We'll come back to you. So I was going to do a deeper dive on it to see whether there's probable cause. It's the first time I've seen something like this.
Yeah, same here, Judge.
Do you mind do you have somewhere else to go?
I do.
Can you go do that and just come back maybe in like an hour? Let me blow through all the arraignments and then
No
we'll sit.
problem. I'm gonna just let my client know and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, I want to open the code. Let's go through it and take time, you know? Yeah, okay, sure. Ready? Hey, Morgan. So I'd like to do PC on this case. This is that stash house.
Yes, we're actually talking to Nathan about that right now.
Nathan,
Yes, sir.
this is a very, it's a first for me.
Okay.
A stash house.
Yeah,
Have you seen this before?
I have, but not for a long time.
And I gotta understand,
I'm looking it up right now.
why is it's not higher up? It's
No,
not
most
like
stash
feds?
houses are misdemeanors. It's strange. Most stash houses are. I teach at the police academy. That's why I know.
Okay, we have to do probable cause, and, you know,
I'm looking it up. I'm going to try and find the pleading itself right now.
okay.
And
Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. What was his name again?
Sure, so it's called, I think it's Adolfo on there, but it's Anulfo.
That's right. Mr. Martinez, come on up. Okay. Shh. All right, Mr. Martinez, you were charged with operating a stash house. I wanted to make sure that your lawyer was here when we did probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Here we go.
Yes, sir. On November 24th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to an apartment in Harris County, Texas. The officer located 5 adult complainants locked in bedroom while conducting welfare check. The officer observed the defendant to be the sole person in the apartment, not locked in the bedroom. The officer determined the apartment to be under the control of the defendant, and all complainants gave similar statements and stated they were held in the locked bedroom without the ability to come and go freely. The complainants were all found to be in possession of identifying documents, but cell phones had been taken away. The complainants stated if they needed to leave the bedroom, they had to knock on the door and be led through the apartment, sometimes with a bag over their head, by one of 2 males in charge. The defendant stated he lives at a location with another male, but does not know the other male very well.
Okay, whoa. So the defendant says that he lives.
Here's where things get messy. The defendant says he barely knows the guy who actually leases the apartment and denies knowing the people locked in the room. So here's the question. If you were in his shoes, would you risk renting a room from a stranger without knowing who else has access? Let me know in the comments.
At that location.
At the location.
But he does not know the second male that also lives at the location.
Does he know him well or
Doesn't
doesn't?
know well.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yes. And the defendant denied knowing the 5 people in the apartment. Instead, they were dropped off in the morning, and that he did not know who dropped them off. The defendant was found with approximately $6,000 on his person, and the officer observed the door where the complainants were to be unable to be locked or unlocked from the inside, only able to be locked from the outside. The room where the complainants were found was free of any furniture, with no mattresses on the floor, and only 3 pillows and multiple blankets. Officers also found a large sheet of plywood covering the window and no working light bulbs. The officer observed a desk in the dining area with 4 envelopes with names in 3,600 written on them containing cash, a total of 11,200. Officers also found a brown wooden baseball bat on the desk with the envelopes.
If I may, Your Honor. So my understanding is that I guess the code says that he has to own the property or rent it, but he was actually renting a room from the guy that lived at that apartment. So he had only paid 1 month of rent to the guy and was going on his second month. He, from my understanding, didn't know who those people were. They had gotten dropped off that morning and he hadn't left for work yet, was my understanding, that day when the officers showed up. And that's all I know from what I gathered. But he had been living there and there hadn't been people there until that morning when they arrived, that the officers then arrived at the home.
Did the officers interview him at all?
Interview the defendant?
Uh-huh.
Yes, Your Honor, and that's whenever he told them that he lived at the location, but did not know the person very well, and that he did not know the 5 people inside. And the officer found them locked in the bedroom, but he denied knowing who they were.
So it says here, a person commits an offense if the person knowingly, 1, uses or permits another to use any real estate, building, room, tent, vehicle, boat, or other property owned by the person or under the person's control to commit an offense or to facilitate the commission of an offense under.
Which is just, those other sections are smuggling or trafficking.
Right. Or rents or leases any property to another, intending that the property be used as subdivision 1.
Which would be him allowing them to use the.
So just to recap, the defense says the real suspects don't match the defendant's description. But the officer says the physical description does match. This is the legal equivalent of a foggy mirror. You see what you want. So who's really in control here? And more importantly, will the judge buy the wrong guy defense?
Property for such commission of alleged offense, but it wasn't his. I guess my issue is that it wasn't his property. He was not on the renting order.
And Your Honor, the officers found him to be under the property to be under his control, as they found him to be the only person on the premises at that time, not locked in the bedroom. So yeah, that's why it was the officer's conclusion that he was in control of the property at the time.